Welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Bellomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law, and, well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. Now, today, we are going to be talking squarely about estate planning and elder law, as I have a dear friend of mine. Sarah, how you doing?
I'm doing really great, Jeff. Thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. I've been very excited about this one for a long time. This is my dear friend Sarah Bucher, who is with Legend of Lancaster, an assisted living and memory care, personal care and memory care unit in Lancaster, and we're going to talk all about that. But first of all, I have to do my disclaimer, just for all the attorneys out there. Remember, please don't take what you hear from this show, or any other show for that matter, to constitute legal advice. If you are looking for legal advice, please contact an attorney licensed in the state that you reside in, who practices in the area that you are looking for advice in. Once you've met with them and gotten advice in that specific situation related to your fact pattern, they can give you legal advice. This and any other show should be for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. At Bellomo and Associates, we educate so that what happened to my family does not happen to yours. We offer free weekly workshops, and we do them on estate planning, crisis Medicaid planning, life care planning, special needs planning, and post-death administration after the loss of a loved one, making sure that their assets get over to the individuals who they would like to receive them in a manner in which they would like them to go to them. So please, all of those areas, we have free workshops that you can attend and get fully educated and understand the prices up front before you have to make a determination as to you would like to work with the firm or not. So we would love to work with you if any of those areas are something that you are possibly looking at or need advice in, or hey, you just want to get educated ahead of time so that you're prepared when it happens. And eventually it might, so you might as well know what all of your options are ahead of time. So, all right, so Sarah, I have a burning question. So we know that your Legend of Lancaster does personal care and memory care. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's pretty a broad topic. So it can mean a lot of different things, and it really depends on each individual person.
Okay.
Really, the most important thing when I'm talking with families here is I want them to know it is not a blanket statement.
Okay.
Personal care for yourself or your loved one can be something very different for what it might be for another individual coming through the door. So it really is personalized care to meet the individual's needs with personal care needs, medical needs, medication assistance, and memory support. So it's a pretty broad brush here that we're
That's awesome.
Paint with.
Well, before we get into the details of Legend of Lancaster, which is absolutely gorgeous, I love the place that you're at. I always love coming over and presenting. But how did you get into, I'll call it healthcare, but I don't know if you have a better definition, but how did you get into that?
Yeah, so it was purely by accident.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Elizabethtown College and I majored in communications. And when I graduated, it was kind of like, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And I, just kind of threw myself out there to a lot of different places. And SpiriTrust Lutheran Home Care and Hospice in York was a place that I connected with, and it was a really great fit. So I worked with their team there, helping to get people signed up for the home health services and getting information on hospice for about 7 years. So that was really my introduction to healthcare, and I found I loved it. It was really a great fit. I loved being able to make those connections with people and helping them through a time that is, challenging and kind of scary. So it was a really great fit to be able to use all of that communication.
Yeah. So you weren't planning on a healthcare then?
I wasn't.
I didn't know that.
It was never something that I thought, okay, I'm going to specifically look into the healthcare route, but it's something that I really connected with once I was in it.
Wow. Well, I know that is near and dear to my heart because I actually met you when you were there at the in-home health at SpiriTrust. So that certainly has a near and dear place in my heart. But, I remember walking into the building and meeting you, and I don't remember exactly why I was there, but I do remember that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, about 12 or 13 years ago. Yeah, when we first had that introduction. Yeah, I thought too it was so wonderful to be in this industry where people from all different facets are coming together to, really help the community, which is what I thought was really cool about the whole healthcare and senior care kind of spectrum. So it was so great to be able to meet you and get this whole new perspective from the elder law attorney portion.
Yeah, right. Oh, the crazy world of Jeff, right? Man, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth, but that's all right. So you stayed in the industry then. You never left the healthcare industry, I believe?
I didn't know. So I worked for home health for a long time. And then I actually made the transition about 6 years ago to senior living. So I've been with Legend of Lancaster. It'll be 6 years in April. Yeah, so a different part of the kind of healthcare area, but another one that is just, I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you from the outside, I mean, certainly Legend of Lancaster has an incredible reputation, and I know I've presented several times there. And from the outside, it appears to be an amazing place to work and to live. What would you say on the inside? I mean, how does it feel being there? I know you've been there a while now, so.
Yeah, it's a wonderful community. It is Legend as a whole is a wonderful company to, work for. They really care about their team. They really care about their residents. They want to make sure that everyone's experience is top notch. They have really high standards for, the quality that we provide here. And I really appreciate that. It's what our residents deserve. It's what our team members deserve as well. So yeah, from the inside, it's been wonderful.
That's
I
awesome.
really love it. Yeah.
That is so cool. I know that you're so active in the community, and I see you all different places. And when you're like in the building and you're like walking around, like what's your, I don't even know how to word it, like not your job, but like as you're meeting residents and you're walking around and hanging out, like what's the atmosphere like, and what do they interact with you like, and how does that go?
Yeah, so this is our residents' homes.
Yeah.
It's just really from everything that we do here, it's about making sure that they're comfortable and they have everything that they want and need. So it's really a privilege to be able to be here in their homes with them every day and get to spend time with them. That's something that I really love about this role. And that's something that's a little bit different from where I started. I get to see our residents, I get to see our families that I've helped through this journey every single day. I get to see how they're, benefiting from the things that we talked about when they started that journey and,
Right.
looking into what could be a good fit for them and watching them blossom in it. So it's really awesome to be able to, see them go in and being a part of the activities and starting those relationships and new friendships here and, just having the support that they need to make sure that they're doing really well. That's
cool.
so cool.
And what's your title?
I'm the sales director here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do see them at the very beginning then.
Yeah. It's really, for a lot of people, they're coming and they don't know what this world is and what that means and what it can look like for them. So it's really neat to be able to get them and be able to educate them and just help them feel really confident and secure in those decisions because it's a big deal.
Yeah. And I imagine they probably still remember you regardless of how long down the road, because you're the one that introduced them and kind of got them to come in and enroll and be there. I'm sure you have friends that have lasted a while there while they're there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can remember the first family that I helped move into the community. She's no longer with us, but she was such a neat lady and such a wonderful family. And that is so special to be able to really set up those relationships and have them continue for years and years, even if their loved one's not here anymore with us. So, yeah, it's a cool one to be able to have those bonds.
Yeah. It's funny. That was one of the things that I was going to mention is one of the things that I've always thought about you and said to other people is that you wear your heart on your sleeve and that you are incredible because you're just a wonderful human being. But I imagine in this profession that also could be hard because you become very close. Yeah. Something tells me it's not just a surface level for you because I don't remember. It was a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, and I I think I know who it was, but that's irrelevant for this conversation. But we were talking about you. You were in the room. We were at an event together, and I said, Sarah just strikes me as somebody who loves hard. And then I realized, in a profession like we're in, for someone like the two of us, it's very hard because we do have clients who pass and who, people who live in your residence, and for me, clients. And I know for me, I struggle with it. Yeah. Is that something that is difficult for you, or?
Yeah, absolutely. You watch someone come and ultimately, go through the last days of their lives here, and it's really difficult. It's a gift to be able to have that experience, but it's also really emotional. And it's one of those things you have to really be able to put it into perspective of, this is how it ends for everyone. We're all going to go through this journey, and all you can do is be strong and be a support for their loved ones and their friends and family, because they're the ones that really need it most. Yeah. We have our team here to be able to really lean on each other when we're going through those hard times. So we need to be those ones that are strong for the residents' family to know that they're going to be okay.
Yeah. And for the lay people like me, if someone does need hospice services, do they do those services right there where they're living?
We do, yeah. So really, it's our goal to keep our residents here in their home ultimately through the end of their lives. So, we have a really wonderful supportive nursing team here that's able to help with a lot. But there are some things that are, we're not able to do it all. So we bring in those outside resources to be able to help support our residents through those things. And hospice is one of that. We're really big advocates. Just like the decision to, move into a community is our family's decision, who they'd like to utilize for hospice is their decision too. Mm-hmm. So our nursing team, we really help them to see if that would be an option they would like to consider, and then setting it up for them here so that they can, again, remain safe and supported in their home.
Wow. And when you say memory care, I think I know what that means, but would you just tell someone who's listening, like, at what point in time might someone move into the memory care side or receive those services?
Yeah, so again, it's going to be different for each individual. There's a couple of things when we're meeting with a family that we would think, okay, memory care might be the best fit for their loved one. So if there's any type of wandering or an elopement risk, memory care is, of course, going to be the best fit because it is a secure neighborhood. So it gives their loved one the safety of being able to have their independence and be up and, be able to enjoy all aspects of the neighborhood, but they're not going to be in a place to be able to get out that'll be unsafe for them. So that's number one. Yeah. Number two is if they're to the point where their dignity could be affected, that they need a more structured environment amongst their neighbors who may be experiencing the same things that they are. We look to sometimes we have residents that will join us in our personal care neighborhood, and as they progress and need more help, maybe memory care is the best fit for them to make sure that they're in an environment that's appropriate. And a couple of different things really stand out for us. One of them is the dining room. If someone's going down to dining and that process is now overwhelming or something that's making them more frustrated, that's kind of a good indicator for us that maybe memory care would be a better fit. They still have the same choices as they would in our personal care, but how we're presenting them look a little bit different, and how we're helping them to make those decisions looks a little bit different.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah. It's funny. I was going to describe what memory care unit is, and I had a certain word in my head, 2 words in my head. And as soon as you started describing it, you said secured neighborhood. And I was like, oh, man, I knew she was going to have an eloquent way of saying that. And I am so glad that she said it. But it just tells you, when you've been around a long time, sometimes the language changes. And boy, do I like secured neighborhood a lot better.
That's so funny that you say that. I think the terminology makes a big difference, too. We can do a lot of those things. When someone thinks of, a personal care, a memory care neighborhood, we can do those things they're probably thinking of, but we don't ever want it to feel like sterile or clinical or like a hospital environment, because that's not what it is here. This is our residents' homes. It is a comfortable, beautiful environment, even though we can do all of those things that they really think of on the medical side for a personal care or memory care neighborhood. So the terminology is a big deal with that, you know?
It is. And I knew there was different words than what I was kind of processing. And I was like, yeah, just let her define it. The other kind of thing that I was thinking about that I hear all the time on my end, and certainly I don't know a fraction of what you do about the different types of communities and the different type of care and those kind of things, or in home too. I know you have that background as well. But for me, I know that I'm always telling people to know your options, to definitely get out there, experience it while you can, experience it while, your family isn't stressed. There isn't all of that emotion going around it, because that certainly skews views as well. As we were talking earlier, stress can certainly do crazy things.
Yep.
What would you say to the people who are kind of what I would say are on repeat over and over? I just want to stay home. I just want to stay home. I never want to leave my home. I never want to leave my home. From my perspective, that isn't always the best option.
Right.
But I'm not coming at it from anything other than a feeling and experience, and seeing people pass away in their homes, and seeing people do things not because they needed to, but because they weren't safe and they didn't even know it.
Right.
What would you say to them that are just adamant? I'm going to go down with my ship.
Yeah. We do see that quite a bit, where, a loved one is looking for a mom or dad, or, any loved one, and I've talked with mom about it, and she really doesn't want to make the move, even though, she's not eating very well, or she's alone all the time, she just doesn't want to go. And I can understand that, even if a situation isn't comfortable or safe. It's what they've known. It's what's, been their history. So I can understand that mentality, but there's so much benefit from being able to make that move. So it's really just helping them to understand what that would look like for their loved one or themselves. It's, having them come and experience it. It's being honest with them about what that could look like for them at home. If it's not safe, what are the outcomes of that? We don't want to ever scare anyone into making this move, but we need to be realistic on what that means for them. There could be a fall, and if you're home by yourself, who's going to be there to be able to make sure you're okay? We see that quite a bit. So it's just having those honest conversations and helping them to see what it could be for them.
Yeah, I was talking to a daughter of a family that is a client of mine that's looking to come to Legend of Lancaster, and she was saying, my mom is pushing and my mom is sort of resisting, and she said, do you have any thoughts? And I said, well, I can tell you one thing. I've never heard somebody say that they wish they would have waited longer. I only ever hear, I wish we would have placed or had this conversation sooner, and the community and the resources and the opportunities and the movie theater and you just hear all of the different things, and it's like, wow, that's so cool. And I've really never heard anybody say we went too soon. It's always the opposite.
I 100% agree. It's one of those things that there's so much relief after the move has been made that it's kind of like, okay, we did make the right decision. Yeah. And sometimes it's just coming for a lot of people too. Again, it's what they're experiencing in their mind and what they're expecting is so vastly different than what it actually is. So even just getting that person in to see what it is, to being able to come in and experience, I think that makes a world of difference. I had a really sweet lady who was here with me last week, and we took a tour, and she was like, oh, this is not what I was thinking at all. And I'm like, yeah. And how would you know? And why would you know that? And I'm so glad you came and you could see what this really could be for you and how much you could enjoy it. So that makes a world of difference.
I don't know if you remember this conversation, but a few years ago, we were talking, and it was a presentation at Legend of Lancaster, and I just said to you, I said, I don't completely understand what's in it for you. Like, you guys have me come in and you put on, a wonderful event. You provide refreshments and you bring people in from the outside. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. But then after the first one that I completed and we finished and we were just talking, And wow, I'd love to say everybody was talking about how great the presentation was. What they were really talking about was just how beautiful the place was, and how nice in the movie theater, and seeing the building itself, and how homey it feels, and how warm and comforting. And then at the end of that night, as I was driving home, I was like, I understand it. It's just a matter of getting people to come in, put their guard down a little, and kind of get rid of the thoughts that they have about what it's going to look like, from probably a movie that they saw in the 70s, right? And I'm making that up totally, but they don't have any concept.
Right. And that's it. That's kind of twofold for us to have those types of events. We really love being a resource for our community as a whole. It's our responsibility to be able to provide resources and education to our communities so that everyone has the tools to be able to make a really good decision for themselves and their loved ones. Even if we're not the right fit for everybody, we know we're not. We want to give them the tools to be able to make the best decision for themselves. So that's really important for us to have people like you that are experts in your field to come in and share your knowledge and your wisdom, with the community as well. And it is nice for people to come in and get to experience it without feeling like, okay, what are you trying to sell me, or what is this going to be? We're just here so you can have a nice night, be able to, talk with Jeff and get a lot of good information, and come in and eat some really good food.
Yeah, it always is really good food too. That is one thing I will say. I've never had a bad meal there, and kudos to the team there. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who work behind the scenes and make that happen, and it is always very good though. All joking aside, it really is.
We have a good
wonderful
team here.
tours too.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. So, and I know you have some exciting news that in April you're going to be buying a house and moving, and so that's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really, really excited. We close at the end of this month, and we should be in by April. So it's been a crazy March, but
yes,
but it's worth it.
Yeah, a little nutty at this time in your life, but
yeah.
My niece always says, she uses that word slay all the time. So to channel my inner niece, you're slaying it. So
Thank you. All right, I'll take it.
I didn't know what that meant the first few times she said it. I was like, is she swearing at me? What is she even saying? But now I get it. It's like a compliment. So
yeah. Thank you. I need to hear that. I need to hear that I'm slaying, because
You
some
are.
days I feel like I'm spiraling.
Well, don't we all? Very, very good. Awesome. So, is there anything, this is a harder one, and not to try to stump you, but was there anything that surprised you about when you got to Legend of Lancaster, coming from the home health side? I don't know, and I don't even know if this is a fair question to ask, but as you got in your role and you were kind of there, was there anything that surprised you?
Yeah, it's a different world. I
Okay.
spent a lot of time going to personal care communities when I was in my role with home health, but kind of the processes and,
Okay.
the policies, the procedures, everything that's in place. And especially here at Legend of Lancaster, nothing is done just because. For our community and for our company, there's really a thoughtful approach for everything that we do, as far as not only the design and the activities and the meals, everything. So that really, I guess, was kind of surprising to me from an outside perspective. Sometimes you just think like, oh, well, we're doing these activities because it seems really fun. And we do that here, but there's a whole approach to why we do what we do. And that was really eye-opening for me to be able to learn that and to be able to share that with families when it's more than just what you see. There's a whole thought process behind it.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm glad I asked that. I was like, oh, this isn't fair, but that was really good. Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, that was really eye-opening for me. And I've learned so much in being in this role, because we have the memory support neighborhood here. There's a lot that I was aware of, but I've learned a ton on, just how to make sure that we're providing the best support and, being able to interact with our residents in, the most appropriate and helpful ways for them. So I've learned a ton just even in dementia care too. So that's been fantastic.
I love those classes. All the dementia stuff, the dementia friends and the practitioner thing. I had so much fun doing that, and I didn't even know what I didn't know. I don't know how else to say it, but it was incredible.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Of, you kind of, when you're in those situations prior to having those types of trainings, you might think, oh, this obviously is the way to manage it. And then you're like, oh, no, I was completely wrong. And this is why. So, the science is really neat, and just being able to have those tools in your tool belt for life too. I think we're all gonna need those types of things, even with our family, our friends, or being at the grocery store and talking to someone who might be, in those situations. So it's really nice to have all of that information now.
Yeah, I've done a lot of those trainings over the years, and certainly I've heard this story numerous times, but the first time I heard it was Teepa Snow, and I was at the event, and she's an incredible human, an incredible speaker, but I remember her saying, you know how when you just have that urge to say, you remember, right? You remember? They don't.
Right.
Take those words and throw them out. And I can still see her saying it, and every time I'm in that, no.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I think too, just the validation that you give, that we give our residents here, it's always kind of that mindset of we're coming to them with where they're at. For them, it might be 1975 and their children are, young kids, and that's okay. We're going to come to them with where they're at and be able to talk to them about those things. The approach here is really cool. We do what's called the best friends approach, and basically, that's just we care for our residents like they're our best friends. And you can't really do that without knowing them as a full person. No. So we do a life history book for everyone that joins our memory care neighborhood, just to really learn about what brought them to our community, what was their life before they joined us, so that when they're talking to us about, no, I gotta go pick up my son off the school bus, he's gonna be, getting done with school here soon, we can talk to them about those times and really be able to have those conversations and help them to feel heard and to really help them through that anxiety too.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, as I fully expected, the time is up, and I'm not surprised. I have another 7 questions in my head, but I keep looking going, yeah, you can't do anything fast. So I am, not you, meaning me. So I think we're gonna end today. I would love to follow up. I have so many more questions I would love to ask, but I just want to thank my listeners for being here today with us. Thank you for joining the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show. As always, we talk everything estate planning and elder law, and I think today fits squarely into that, and I'm so excited to be joined by my friend Sarah with Legend of Lancaster, personal care and memory care unit in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I look forward to seeing you again. If there's anyone out there who would like more information, Sarah, how would they be able to find more information about Legend of Lancaster and get in touch with you?
So I will be happy to share my contact information, and so that can be included. You can also visit our website at legendseniorliving.com. We have a really beautiful, really informative website that you can visit with a lot of great information, but I'm always happy to, answer any questions or just help people talk through options and anything, I can do to help support through. So feel free to reach out to me too.
Awesome. So legendseniorliving.com, I believe, was the address. So thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to my listeners. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.